What if I told you the people who play dirty are already expecting you to play fair and fail? Because here's the truth, when someone crosses the line, they're not just testing your patience, they're testing your psychology. And most people lose right there, not because they're weak, but because they react instead of respond. So, the real question is this: are you going to play their game, or are you going to learn how to control it? When someone plays dirty, their first move is never physical, it's psychological. They're not just attacking your situation, they're attacking your emotional control. Because the moment you react emotionally, you step into their game without realizing it. And once you're in their game, the outcome is no longer in your favor. This is where most people fail, not because they are weak, but because they are predictable. They respond instantly. They get angry, they defend themselves, they try to explain, and in doing so, they reveal exactly what the other person wanted to see, their emotional buttons. But here's the truth: most people don't understand your reaction is your biggest weapon or your biggest weakness. The people who play dirty are looking for a reaction. They want to provoke you, distract you, destabilize you. Because when you lose emotional control, you lose clarity. And when you lose clarity, you start making mistakes. Small mistakes at first, then bigger ones, until you are completely outplayed. So the first rule is simple, but not easy: do not react. Control yourself before trying to control anything else. Now ask yourself this: if someone knows exactly how to trigger you, are you still in control of your life? Think about it. Every time you react emotionally, you are handing power to the other person. You are saying without words, "You control how I feel." And that's exactly what they want. But when you don't react, something changes. Silence becomes powerful, stillness becomes intimidating, and unpredictability becomes your strength. Because when someone expects anger and you give them calm, they become confused. When they expect a breakdown and you remain composed, they lose control. When they try to pull you into chaos and you refuse to enter, you become untouchable. This is not weakness, this is discipline. Now let's go deeper. Controlling your reaction does not mean ignoring reality. It means choosing how you respond to reality. There is a massive difference. One is emotional impulse. The other is strategic intelligence. Machiavellian thinkers understood this clearly. Power is not about showing your strength. It's about controlling your impulses. Because the person who reacts first loses first. The person who observes first wins first. So when someone provokes you, don't rush to respond. Pause, breathe, observe, ask yourself, what are they trying to achieve with this behavior? What do they gain if I react emotionally? What happens if I stay silent instead? That pause is where your power begins. Most people underestimate the power of silence. They think speaking quickly or defending themselves immediately makes them strong. But in reality, silence forces the other person to reveal more. It exposes their intentions. It gives you time to think, analyze, and choose your move wisely. And here's the deeper layer. Your emotions are being watched. Every reaction you give is data for the other person. They learn your triggers. They map your patterns. They understand how to manipulate you further. But when you control your reaction consistently, you become unreadable. And an unreadable person is dangerous, in a powerful way, because no one can predict your next move. No one can manipulate your emotional state, and no one can control your decisions. That's when you stop being a target and start becoming a threat. Now ask yourself again, honestly, how many times have you lost control and later regretted the way you reacted? That regret is proof that your reaction cost you something. So the next time someone tries to provoke you, don't take the bait. Don't rush into their trap. Stay still, stay calm, stay aware, because the moment you control your reaction, you start controlling the entire situation. And once you control the situation, you're no longer playing their game, you're playing your own. When people play dirty, their biggest advantage is information. The more they know about you, your emotions, your reactions, your habits, the easier it becomes for them to control you. That's why the second rule is critical. Stop exposing yourself. Start observing everything. Most people make a dangerous mistake. They think transparency equals strength. They talk too much. They explain too much. They justify themselves. They reveal their thoughts, their plans, and even their emotions to people who haven't earned that level of access. But here's the truth. Every word you speak is a piece of information, and in the wrong hands, information becomes a weapon. So, let me ask you this. Are you sharing your truth, or are you handing your weakness to someone who might use it against you? When someone is playing dirty, they are constantly scanning for signals. They are watching how you react, what triggers you, what frustrates you, what excites you. They are mapping your psychology in real time, and the moment you start exposing too much, they win. Because now they don't have to guess, they don't have to analyze deeply. You've already given them everything they need. But when you stay silent and observant, the power shifts. Now you are the one collecting information. Now you are the one studying behavior. Now you are the one understanding patterns, and that changes everything. Think about it. People reveal more than they realize through their actions, tone, and behavior. You don't need them to tell you everything directly. If you're observant, you can read their intentions without them ever saying a word. Their impatience reveals urgency. Their aggression reveals insecurity. Their overconfidence reveals hidden fear. But if you're too busy talking, defending, or reacting, you miss all of this. That's why silence is not emptiness, it's intelligence. When you stay quiet, you create space to observe. And in that space, you gain clarity. You start noticing things others overlook. You begin to see the situation for what it really is, not what it appears to be. Now, here's something most people don't realize. The less you reveal, the more control you have. When people don't know your next move, they can't prepare for it. When they don't know your thoughts, they can't predict your decisions. And when they can't predict you, they lose their ability to manipulate you. That's power. Let me ask you this. Why would you give someone the map to your mind if they haven't proven they can be trusted? This is where discipline comes in. Observing without exposing yourself requires restraint. It requires you to resist the urge to respond immediately. It requires you to stay calm even when your emotions are pushing you to speak, because every time you speak impulsively, you reveal something. A weakness, a fear, a preference, a boundary, and people who play dirty are very good at using those revelations against you. But when you master observation, something powerful happens. You become unreadable. And being unreadable is one of the highest forms of psychological power. Because now, they can't anticipate your reactions. They can't manipulate your emotions. They can't easily control the direction of the situation. You become unpredictable, and unpredictability creates fear in those who try to control others. Now, here's a practical shift you can apply immediately. Instead of asking, "What should I say?" start asking, "What can I learn from this moment?" Instead of reacting, start analyzing. Instead of explaining yourself, start observing the other person's behavior. Watch their patterns, watch their tone, watch their body language, watch what they do when they think no one is paying attention. Because people reveal their true intentions when they stop trying to impress you. And if you stay quiet long enough, they will reveal everything. So remember this, don't rush to expose yourself just to prove a point. Let your silence collect the truth for you. Because in a world where everyone is trying to be heard, the one who observes quietly understands everything. And the one who understands everything is always one step ahead. Once you've learned to control your reaction and observe without exposing yourself, the next step is where most people fail again: how you respond. Because staying calm is not enough. Observing is not enough. At some point, you must act. But the difference between someone who wins and someone who loses is how they act. And here's the harsh truth: if you strike emotionally, you are already defeated even if you win the moment. Most people think retaliation is power. They think if someone attacks them, they should attack back immediately. But that's not power, that's impulse. And impulse is exactly what people who play dirty are counting on. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you reacted emotionally and later realized it made things worse? That's the cost of emotional decisions. They feel right in the moment, but they collapse over time. Now contrast that with a strategic response. A strategic strike is calm, it's calculated, it's intentional. It's precise, it doesn't waste energy, it directs it. When you respond strategically, you're not trying to win in a loud, dramatic way. You're trying to create impact. You're trying to shift the balance of power without exposing your full strength. Because real power doesn't need to be loud. Real power is subtle, but devastating. Think of it like this. When someone plays dirty, they expect chaos. They expect you to lose control. They expect you to react in a way that gives them advantage. But when you respond with precision instead of emotion, you break their expectation. And breaking expectation creates confusion. Confusion creates hesitation, and hesitation creates opportunity for you. Now here's the critical mindset shift. Don't strike to prove a point, strike to change the outcome. People who strike emotionally are trying to release anger. People who strike strategically are trying to control direction. There is a huge difference. When you act out of anger, your goal is to hurt the other person. When you act out of strategy, your goal is to position yourself correctly. And positioning is everything. Ask yourself before you act, what is the purpose of this response? What outcome am I trying to create? Will this move improve my position or just release my emotions? If the answer is emotional release, don't do it. Because emotional reactions are short-term satisfaction with long-term consequences. Strategic actions may feel slower, but they create long-term dominance. Now, let's go deeper. A strategic strike is often minimal, but powerful. It doesn't involve over-explaining. It doesn't involve lengthy arguments. It doesn't involve trying to convince someone who is not listening. Instead, it's often a single action, a single response, a single move that shifts the dynamic completely. Sometimes it's silence at the right moment. Sometimes it's walking away at the right time. Sometimes it's saying just enough to expose the other person's intentions, then stopping. The key is this: you don't need many moves, you need the right move, and the right move is never emotional. Now here's a powerful truth. People who play dirty are used to emotional people. They thrive in environments where reactions are predictable. But when they encounter someone who responds with calm precision, they lose control. because now they can't manipulate the outcome easily. Now they can't provoke a reaction. Now they can't dominate the situation, and that's when the power shifts. Let me ask you again, are you reacting to win the moment, or are you responding to win the outcome? Because winning a moment feels good, but winning the outcome changes everything. Now imagine this. Instead of reacting impulsively, you pause. You analyze. You choose the exact response that gives you the advantage. You act once, and that action speaks louder than 100 emotional reactions ever could. That's how you strike strategically, and here's the final layer. Strategic strikes build reputation. When people realize you don't react emotionally, they become cautious. When they realize you respond with precision, they become careful. When they realize your actions are intentional, they become hesitant to test you again, and that hesitation is your protection. Because now they know you don't play randomly, you play intelligently. So remember this rule: don't let your emotions decide your actions. Let your strategy decide your impact, because in the end, the person who controls their moves controls the entire game. By now, you've learned to control your reaction, to observe without exposing yourself, and to respond strategically instead of emotionally. But there is one final layer, one that separates the truly powerful from everyone else, and that is this: you must detach internally. Because as long as you are emotionally attached to the outcome, the other person still has control over you. Even if you stay calm on the outside, if you are still emotionally invested on the inside, you are not fully free. Detachment does not mean you don't care. It means you don't lose yourself in what you care about, and that is a critical difference. Let me ask you something. If someone's behavior can still disturb your peace, are you really in control? Most people think they've mastered the situation just because they are not reacting outwardly, but internally they are still affected. They are still thinking about it, still replaying it, still emotionally tied to what happened, and that internal attachment is dangerous. Because when your emotions are still engaged, your decisions are still influenced. And when your decisions are influenced, you are still being controlled, just in a more subtle way. But when you detach internally, something powerful happens. You become free. Now, their actions no longer dictate your mood. Their words no longer control your thoughts. Their behavior no longer defines your energy. You operate from a place of stability, not reaction. And that is where true dominance begins. Now here's the deeper truth most people never realize. People who play dirty rely on emotional connection to control you. They want you to care. They want you to be invested. They want you to be emotionally involved because that gives them leverage. But when you detach, you remove that leverage completely. You become harder to manipulate, harder to predict, harder to control, because now you are no longer emotionally reacting to their moves. You are evaluating them objectively. And that changes the entire dynamic. Think about it like this. When you are emotionally attached, every small action from the other person feels bigger than it is. A comment feels like an attack. A delay feels like disrespect. A behavior feels personal. But when you are detached, you see things clearly. You understand that their behavior is a reflection of them, not a reflection of you. And that clarity is power. Now, let's take this even further. Detachment allows you to make better decisions. When you are emotionally involved, your decisions are biased. You might overreact, you might overcommit, you might try to win in situations that don't even deserve your energy. But when you detach internally, you start asking better questions. Is this worth my energy? Does this affect my long-term goal? Am I reacting or am I choosing? And those questions protect you, because not everything deserves your attention. Not every battle is worth fighting. Not every person deserves your emotional energy. And the person who understands this becomes powerful without even trying. Now, here's something important. Detachment is not coldness, it is control. You are not shutting yourself off from emotions. You are choosing when and where to invest them. That's discipline, and discipline creates dominance. Because now you are no longer a slave to external circumstances. You are operating from internal stability. No matter what they say, you remain steady. No matter what they do, you remain focused. No matter how they act, you remain in control. And when you reach this level, something changes. People can no longer provoke you. They can no longer disturb your peace. They can no longer pull you into their chaos. You become unshakable. And unshakable people are extremely difficult to defeat. Now ask yourself this: if someone can't affect your emotions, do they still have power over you? The answer is no, because power over you only exists when you give access to your emotions. And once you remove that access, you take your power back completely. So the final lesson is this: detach internally, but remain in control externally. Feel what you need to feel, but don't let it control your actions. Observe everything, but don't let it disturb your focus. Engage when necessary, but never lose yourself in the process. Because the ultimate form of power is not domination over others, it is domination over yourself. And the person who masters themselves no longer needs to fight anyone to win. They already are. Conclusion: the final truth of power: when someone plays dirty, your first instinct will always be to react, to fight back, to defend yourself, to prove them wrong. But that instinct is exactly what they are counting on, because the moment you react emotionally, you step into their control. But now you understand something different. You've learned that control starts with your reaction. You've learned that power grows through observation, not exposure. You've learned that winning requires strategy, not emotion. And finally, you've learned that true dominance comes from internal detachment. This is not just about dealing with people who play dirty. This is about becoming someone who cannot be manipulated, controlled, or shaken, no matter who stands in front of you. Because in the end, people don't lose power because others are stronger. They lose power because they lose control over themselves. So, the real question is not, how do you defeat them? The real question is, have you learned to control yourself enough that they can no longer affect you at all? Once you reach that level, something changes forever. You no longer chase respect. You command it. You no longer react to chaos. You remain above it. You no longer fight every battle, because you choose only the ones that matter. And the moment you operate from this mindset, you are no longer a player in their game. You become the one who defines the rules.